You're looking at 900 horsepower. Warm it up before we go out. Welcome to CRNet's Motorsports. My name's Ken. Shop Inspector is at my side. We're putting the final touches on the editing for the completion of the Carburetor series. Casey reassembles it and sets the float level. Pay attention. You got good up-close views of setting the float level. Critical part with these carburetors. These carburetors are Keihin. It's Japanese, but it doesn't sound like it. But that's the way supposedly it's pronounced. I've always called them Klein just because I didn't know any better. But anyway, it's a good carburetor, no issues, but the float level is critical, so pay attention. And I hope you have success in your project, and thank you for watching ours.
Okay, we got everything done with the parts cleaner, everything's dry. And then what I've also done is I've gone through some of the softer areas, right around in here. A little Scotch-Brite, just kind of clean them up a little bit. Look at the brass, got the brass looking good. Let's see how well this turned out. So we're going to try to reuse these originals. Now we've got to redo or replace all these pieces. And we got a brand new kit. And we also have new top covers. So we'll go through and kind of lay this stuff out. So here's new chrome cap, here's the original one, you can see the difference. There's your part number. Look at the difference on that one. So let's go through and figure out what we're going to replace. Lay them side by side. Here is the plug cap. There. We have our needle jet replacement. Not sure why that came with so many. So we'll inspect those a little bit closer. Also have our main jet down here and our other one up here. See how this one is notched and this one is missing an ear. We have new needle slide. It does come with new float. See, look, they're a little bit different size. So we're going to keep with the original. We'll save this one for later. Kind of laid out. We also have our jet up here. Looks a little bit different. That's the proper one. So this seems to be a universal kit. We also have our needle up here. Slightly different, but it will work. And then we have our needle float assembly, which corresponds to up there. Springs, O-rings, new retainer clip. So this will go over here. Springs seem to be similar, so that goes with there. Also, there's supposed to be O-rings and stuff with this one too. So we'll see in the manual. And this larger spring looks like it is supposed to go with This is a replacement. We have new E-clip up here. I think we're going to keep with the original. We have new cap. Float bowl drain. So take a look. Not sure why we got so many. We're just trying to compare all the parts together. So I'll say that's an extra. We'll set it to the side. Same thing. For some reason we got 3. Don't know why. Don't see any markings or differentiations compared to the original. Right. So we got all those pieces. This one, same thing. New O-rings, all that stuff. It's great. Go look at here. So I'll show you. See how it plunges? And this will drop down just like that. Here's the original one, and see what we got to plunge. But we really don't need this guy anymore. Got a new bowl gasket. Nice and formed. I have to put a little grease down to tack it. We'll get to that part. Oh, and here's these top needles. So this clip could work, but it looks like it just needs a little bit more work. We'll set that aside. So all these little extra spare parts, we'll just drop in this baggie. This must be for the different size jet. For the idle air mixture screw. So we don't need those. So that's everything that came in this kit. So now what we have to do is reassemble everything. All these passages have been blown out. We saw that. So let's go ahead and start here. What I'm going to do is, this guy will work just fine. Put a little lubrication in there. So we use this as a container, little marbles. Use a little cotton ball so we can lube everything up. All right, let's begin. So before we start anywhere, we need to reassemble all these slides. So the larger size will be where the choke goes. Here's our choke. Got it all nice and cleaned up. It'll come through this way. Remember how this was bent? I was able to put it in the vise and I straightened it out. Our trapdoor works just fine. So we're going to take a little grease just inside these ports, holes, openings. We'll do the same thing. That should get us going. So this will slide in this way. And this port opening actually goes slightly down. Because as you can see, it's a little bit bigger than the hole. Get a little Loctite, we'll put them on our little screws. Here we go. So since we're right here, we'll put that bracket back on, which is located here. That rides like that. Same thing, little Loctite on the screw. See how it rides on the notches. Alright, flapper done. Let's go on to the next one. So we're going to do the butterfly on this side. Go ahead and grease up the insides. Get a lot more grease. Before I get too greased up, we'll remove this. And it is going to go in this way. So this side will ride our spring setup. This side will be where our stop is. What's it going to do? Work too smooth? Now it is a tight fit. That's how it's going to go. So now we need to put our butterfly in. So that's closed position. This number here. See that? Be down. Loctite our little bolts over here.
Hey, this is Ken, CR Nets Motorsports. Just wanted to take a quick second to remind you to like and subscribe. It costs you nothing, means the world of difference to us. And if you have a friend who might be interested in the video, please share it. So, thank you very much, and let's get on with the show.
Now I'm not going to tighten them down yet because this tab will move. I'll show you what I'm talking about in a second. Now this is normal, that this won't close all the way and it won't hit your stop. But what I'm trying to do is make sure we hit right in there. Hit it back where it was. Not about the height adjustment, but about where this is striking on the plate. Because what you can do is this butterfly will move in here and you can come all the way to the outside. So we're trying to find the sweet spot. I also want to find the sweet spot. See the movement it has? Not too far up, not too far down. It seals, it closes. So now we can lock that in. Nice and free. So now we're going to set up the outside. So this will grab onto here, and then we'll rotate the spring to fit on this notch. See how it's notched? See how that assembly goes together? Lock washer, a little Loctite. So I'm going to hold this. Now you don't want to come do this because there's that stopper tab right here. You're going to probably end up bending that tab. It doesn't take much. Has a lock washer. Now we have that set. We'll set this to 0 just so we have a starting spot. So there's a gap. And I can feel my blades barely move. So that's about 0. Everything works. Now, bottom side assembly. So we got all these parts to replace. So let's start with the easy one. Let's see. Let's call them right by their right name. So we're looking in the manual. Here's your rubber cap. So 12 is the pilot jet. And number 7 it calls the slow jet. And that's actually the rubber stopper. It goes into this orifice. And that's the only one we screw in. Let's try that again. Put a little oil. Pre-lube these other ones. Goes down in there. We'll just gently screw it in. We'll put our new rubber stopper back in. Okay. Now we gotta set these. Now these are 2 different sizes, okay? And this tapered end in this one will go up. So they'll come through here. As you can tell, that one doesn't fit. And that one drops in like a champ. Look at that. Get the other one in there. Very gently. Just make sure they're seated. If we come through, we can see them come through there. Whoops. See, they're so loose they just drop right out. So we'll hold that. See them down in the middle? And you can also see them through there. Now these are where our caps are going to come in, okay, but we don't want to seat them down yet because we have to set this bracket. Now it's hard to put in this bracket backwards because the size difference. Larger size over here. Let's oil those up. Looks like the rubber stop's too big, so we're going to have to reuse the original one. It's okay. See how the original one's a little bit smaller? Has a better fit too. Where'd you go? Very difficult dropping in. Do we have it set all the way? Yeah, they're set. Is there a height difference? They're about identical. Yeah, that's not right. That's going a lot nicer. There we go. One more time. So yeah, pinch the rubber. Maybe that's why they give you 3 of them. Extra lube that one up. Where did my bracket go? Now remember the bowl, when you set the bowl in, it will press it down, so that will keep it seated. They look to be okay. Alright, now we're going to drop in our needle set. Just a little oil. Our bracket, there's the top side and bottom side. Make sure that presses it down. Sorry, beveled up. See, when I tighten it, it squishes it down. Okay, that takes care of all those parts. Now we can work on this gasket. Oh, we gotta do our final part. The float and setting the float height. Needle's in there. So we're going to set the float height. So I'll show you something. In the manual, depending on the engine number, right, we can have different heights. So 19, 21, or even up to 26, depending on the model number. Looking at some YouTube videos, a common motor just says 23. So we're going to do that because they do these more than I do. Almost there. Catching on everything. Nice. I think that is tolerable. That looks good. So we're just measuring from here to here, and that's about the number we're getting. Go ahead and put this away. That takes care of everything on the bottom end, pretty much. Go ahead and put our new float bowl screw in. We just gotta work on our gasket. Almost. Stretching it out just a little bit. Pretty much it. A little grease. Just so it tacks down. There's our bottom. Perfect. Everything works. All taken care of. Now we can deal with this side. On here, where'd it go? There's that special O-ring, and then there's a little washer. Right there. Pull that off. Spring washer. Then the O-ring. From there goes into here. There we go. Now we can do the top assembly. Oh, here. Need to do the throttle bracket. Just goes there. A little Loctite. Parts off the table. Let's go ahead and assemble this. This is all sanded down. Remember we had that issue. Everything looks good in there. We'll drop our needle in. Oh. Drop our cap. Drop our spring. Everything is in there. So the needle's parked. Drop our spring in there. One thing to note, these two are supposed to go towards the back. Towards the back, what do I mean? Well, towards the choke plate. But since we have the original gasket, everything lines up the way it should, because the rubber hasn't moved. Also nice free down, easy movement. And we got a brand new, so we don't need that anymore. Compared to how good everything else looks, these screws look horrible. Maybe we'll see what we can do about those later. Okay, that is almost everything. All we need to do now is just put this on. I got a bee on me, but if I don't move and I ignore him, he'll leave me alone. Goes lock washer. Now we got a fully functioning carb. We can see what the donor looked like, so we cleaned out pretty well. That's rebuilding the carbs.